Guys, Brandon, he said he knows you.
Oh, Big Brandon?
Nah, Skinny Brandon. Oh, we live.
Hey, welcome. We was trying mad things. I was saying little prayers in languages I don't know to gods I don't worship to get this to happen.
All right, let me do this.
Welcome.
This you keep talking. Let me get this going.
So
let me update the links.
I'm gonna tell them a little story about this thing we call fatherhood. If I was to become a priest, that'd probably be my name. So, have we ever discussed rage on this? Have I ever mentioned anything about rage? Anyway, so I used to have legendary road rage. I'm sure this is tied into many things, that maybe now's not the time to discuss. But my little ones got some of that wildness in them. I have a daughter and I have a son. And so this morning, I was trying to get them on the bus to school with my wife. We were all there, and
we were all there.
My daughter was,
all parties were present.
We were all there. My daughter she's not really about clothes. She's not really about clothes right now. So she was standing at the edge of the driveway waiting for the bus or whatever, and she starts screaming out, I don't want to wear panties. I don't want to wear panties. And so like she's raging, and I'm just seeing me. I'm seeing me. It's hey, yo, that the echo. I'm seeing myself in her, like right there, and I'm just like, damn, what? How? So I think like the best thing to do is to maintain low tones and vibes and all that. Previously to that, when I was a new father, I would just be wilding. I would just be like, because their babies, they're not talking, they're just wilding out, screaming, yelling, dumbing out. So I would just be like, what are you doing? Going ham also. And I quickly learned that was not the way. So
they mimic those things.
Yeah, man. But I think also some of it is nature, right? Like natural, and then some of that was nurtured. Anyway, long story short, she gets on the bus, and I had heard about this thing called with her panties on, no doubt,
not by choice.
No, but she likes to wear dresses. That might help elucidate the story. Like she doesn't wear pants, so she can easily remove her clothes when she gets home. But she was standing out there like, I don't want to wear these panties. She's trying to take them off with under her dress. So the bus comes, we get there, my son hops on, and then the bus aide is like on that redirection tip, which I never really believed in. She's like, oh, look what I have, and it's like some little nothing, and my daughter's just like oh, and then that gets on the bus, and I'm just like, damn. That's amazing. So
you know those tricks?
In that moment, I'm too invested. I'm too like emotionally charged for these moments.
Talk it out.
Yeah, or I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm just like, I get all in my head, like, what did I do? 8 years ago when I got mad at that person, this is the karma coming back. So I'm just like, it's just the things that hit me in my head in that one moment. I'm just like, who cares about that stupid thing? And then like, oh my God, how did that work? All those things hit me at the same time. And it's just like, how did we get here? And like, how can I get better? That's the question I ask most. How can I get better as a father? You know what I mean? So
we talking it out today. Let's introduce ourselves. Let's say who we are.
Y'all know who this is.
What we doing here? What season this is?
This is season.
I'm drinking out this kombucha. That's
season
super
64.
Homemade. You can see the mother just living up in there. Some like slurping up some bacteria.
Like, I was watching a video on octopuses.
Octopus. I knew he was gonna go there. That's what it looks like, right?
Yeah, boss.
It's living
more like a squid, though.
I think it's swimming.
That's spooky.
I'm about to slurp it up.
Spooky.
Word. This is RevFit Radio.
Yeah.
We back. Season 6, episode 1. New setup. I'm Shawn Garcia.
My name is Rene.
That's the shortest introduction ever.
I've been lying to y'all for years. I've been using mad aliases. Today I'm just gonna say my name is Rene. That's it.
What was your alias last season?
I think it was 64 Knuckles was my alias last time. But we were definitely reporting from Area 32. That was true. That was a true story.
Oh, in the preview
If you didn't see that, you got to go find that. That was epic.
I think that's on our Facebook
They were rolling up on me at Area 32.
Right. Let them peep the shirt real quick. Let's get that in the camera. There we go. We just hit that 1 year anniversary. Hurricane Maria.
Yeah.
in Puerto Rico.
Word up.
Things are going okay. No hurricanes this season, thankfully.
Y'all see that? You got to defend the land.
Nice.
You got to defend the
I need one of those.
land.
I got the RevFit joint.
Yeah. Shout out
I need both of those on there.
Shout out to the natives right there.
Yeah, that's dope.
You know, they got to send us some fly joints, Tainos, and all indigenous folks worldwide.
Word. What's that?
So,
speaking of indigenous folks,
check it out. The mothership. Llamando.
There we go.
The only person that's calling me. I'm not picking that up.
So this is RevFit Radio. We're back for season 6. New look, new setup. So if you haven't realized yet, we are streaming via YouTube live. So not Facebook anymore. We've kind of moved away from the Facebook feed, and we're moving on to YouTube. Just real quick on the logistics. Why Facebook? It's, Facebook's cool, and a lot of people are on Facebook, but a lot of people are not on Facebook and choose not to be on there for various reasons. So there's a big portion of our folks who didn't get to see our live feeds and who would just check out, the rebroadcast on iTunes and Stitcher and all that stuff, which is great too. That will still be happening. So the episodes will be live on YouTube on Thursday and then go out on the podcast feeds on Fridays. So if you're listening to this via your earbuds and you're not able to see us, but you do want to see us, you can definitely check out the live recording, which is a little bit more unedited and unfiltered, that goes out on Thursday. So it'll be on YouTube. There's a little bit more ownership that we have over the content on YouTube. I mean, there's still Big Brother for sure, but Facebook be really trying to lock up your videos, lock up your audio. Like you only can watch the Facebook videos in the Facebook browser. You knew that, right?
Yeah, they all messed up.
So are you trying to share with people and they can't see it because they ain't got Facebook or whatever, or they're not following you on Facebook or whatever?
Yeah. There was that thing we had to delete the messenger because they were listening to you and all that, and then like you're forced to always have it. They just force you to. They force you to do it. They force you. Anybody that forces you to do anything is just no good.
Yo, so I deleted Facebook. Did I tell you that? I deleted Facebook.
You did tell me
that.
So
I stuck to my guns on that. I deleted Facebook. I deleted Facebook Messenger. I went in there today on the browser, on the computer, and I had like 20 messages. I was like, oh man, maybe I should let people know that I'm not on Facebook anymore.
Yeah, that's fly.
I need to communicate that.
Nah, I mean, they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out, right? Yeah. So this is RevFit Radio. This is season 6, episode 1. We're talking about creating the new dad, or talking about fatherhood in the 21st century, what that looks like.
Looks like this.
You're looking at it. No, see my lock popping out.
Yeah.
The gray hairs popping out.
Look at these gray hairs. Look at these. They're in there.
Oh, I thought that was your neck.
My neck. It's under there somewhere.
Yeah. I feel like every single gray hair I got right there is like for every stressful moment that Kai is giving me.
Yo,
someone's on your phone?
Yeah, people hit me up, man. What can I say?
Big Brother's tapping in.
I don't want to tell you stories about what I do for a living to make money and how I'm constantly being, blocked from things because of Big Brother. But
speaking of which,
let's just say they don't like what I do.
Speaking of which, we are going live today earlier than our regular broadcast will be going out. So we are on live here at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, but the regular time will be Thursdays at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, because my son wants me to come home
because
tonight.
of fatherhood.
So we made it happen because my son.
In fact, we were trying to get our episodes earlier this month, but we kept pushing them back because of daddy responsibilities and other things. But we were like, all right, we got to make it happen before the end of September. We put up that post that we were going to do September. We was coming back, so we had to get it out.
Yeah. So
here we
are. Shout out to the moms, man, that been doing it for forever. For millions of years. Is that how old is the universe? Yeah, man, I have a newfound respect for parenthood and for like folks that are doing it, and like single moms, yo, next level.
Right.
So, I think that part of this thing is like we're trying to be different, right? I mean, I had a dope father present in my life, and I'm trying to take that next step and trying to be a dope dad for my kids. And part of that is really like constantly reflecting on like things that I'm not doing right, yo. And they let me know. They let me know constantly. I mean, this morning I was like, yo, what did I do wrong?
Was the kids let you know?
Yeah,
or your peers?
my peers,
partner,
most of my peers don't want to talk to me about what I'm doing wrong most of the time. But my partner, my wonderful lady, she puts it to me and she lets me know. She keeps me, held accountable. So I appreciate that.
Word.
And that's making me a better person.
So how many kids you got?
I have 2 that I actually am responsible for biologically. But like so many young people that follow me and I try to be that kind of role model also for I work with young people. So, that I consider a lot of them my children also, but 2 kids that I have to put to bed. So, that's a different kind of experience.
Word. And I got 1 little one, but similar. I work with a lot of young people. So definitely that mentoring and that positive role model, position is something that is not taken lightly for sure, especially in our communities where there's so much working against us to keep us apart, keep our families apart. So you got the 2 little ones, twins came at the same time. What's the story behind that? Give us the birth story. Can you share that?
I can share that, man. I can share that.
So let's start at the beginning.
Well, it all started in a rainy day.
Let's not go that far back. Let's not go that far back.
My dad was in his diapers. I'm saying, we found out we were having twins, and we were offered to be a part of this study. And so, my truth is funnier than my jokes. This is dead ass. We were part of this study. This twin study.
Oh, okay.
And so they wanted to study. I don't remember the details as usual, but all I know is that every time
Rene is a Yeti, if you don't know yet.
The urban Yeti. I'm an albino silverback.
This was a study on alien DNA.
No doubt.
Crossbred with human DNA.
Blood type Q, what is it? NH. So the details, I don't remember what it was, but all I remember was that every time we went to the doctor
before they put you under,
we were going to get a special scan. We were going to get the comprehensive scan. They were trying to study the growth, the development of fraternal twins, because they have a boy and a girl. That means they're not identical. That means they're fraternal. So I think that was the study. So they were trying to get these comprehensive scans that you really only get every few months when you're pregnant normally, right? And so
are you going for your check-ins each trimester? Or whatever?
Yeah. They're like the big benchmark scans. We would get every single month, I think, just to really document the growth in a real way. And so I was at every appointment with my wife. I let my boss at the time know, listen, I got to go to all these appointments. And
why was that?
Because I wanted to be there. I wanted to support, and I wanted to help at every single step of the way. And so as it came time, this person was a specialist.
And your boss supported that?
Yeah, my boss supported it. I mean, my boss supported it, but I also put it in a way that was this is going to happen. So it's either you're going to support me in doing it or we're going to have to figure something out. I'll have to make up hours or dock my pay, whatever.
Did they find it weird that you wanted to go to every single one?
I think my boss knew. My boss knew what was up, and they were super supportive. So I appreciate and I'm very thankful for that.
And did Mel want you to be there?
Yeah. Mel wanted me to be there. And there was a couple of times when I realized she does a lot of she does the detailed research and all that stuff, right?
Reading the books.
Yeah, I'm the security. I'm the deliverer of people and goods. I drive. I make us safe.
You can't talk about your other hustles. Bro.
I'm just saying. Nah. I'm talking about live people that are related to me, right?
You see your cut right here. That's a rocker on this joint.
This is another story.
You got the rock. What's that?
Another story.
Mayans MC.
See, yeah, Harambino.
Nice.
So
got the bottom rocker.
That's part of my albino silverbackness. So the doctor was like, "Yo, so when it's time to go get this C-section, because it had to be a C-section, right? You got to just make sure that when you get there, you tell them this is what you got to do. You have to do this. You have to say, I don't want the epidural administered by one of these flunkies. I want it to be administered by an attending physician." That was my line. I still remember.
So you gotta have the plan of attack.
Yeah.
What you want to happen, who you want to work with you.
Because it was like a teaching hospital, right? So they didn't want the student doctors, the interns, to be administering epidural, right? So she was like, you got to be there for that, because they will try to let a student do it. So,
and why is it important that you do it, that you're there to?
Well, because I think that she's just like, Melissa's gonna be possibly stressed, or we don't want her to get stressed. You want her to keep her chill. So this is your responsibility, Dad. I was like, word, my first real responsibility. I think they knew that I was ready. They knew I was ready to like pop off on anybody that tried to prevent me from delivering this line. So I think they okey doked me. They was like, could you go change over there? So I left and changed into they gave me like 3 different sizes that were all wrong on purpose to delay me, right? I know that this happened.
They gave me the Doogie Howser joint?
Yeah, they gave me the little Steve Urkel, Screech from Saved by the Bell size, when clearly I needed the panthro jump off. And I came out and she was not in the room. So I was like, hey, yo, they took her in. They took her into the OR or whatever. And then I was like, yo, where's my wife? And they was like, sir, calm down. They took her in. I said, well, I got to go in there. I got to go tell these people. They were like, well, they are already administering the epidural. Wow. So you have to wait till it's done. And I was like, nah. That's exactly what I was saying. I was like, yo, you need to let me in there. I said, sir, we can't. This is like, hospital policy. So I'm thinking, what would my wife do right now? And so I was like, let me chill for a minute. When I walked in, though, she was looking stressed. She was frustrated. They had a student do it.
Wow.
And the student messed up.
Wow.
So I was pissed.
But that's what happens, right? You have the birth plan. You have what the strategy. Don't go as planned. But those, especially in these kind of high intensity, things don't go as planned. Especially too when there's so many parties at play, like in a hospital setting.
Yeah, too many moving parts. Yeah. And I was just like, nah, like this is messed up. But I didn't want to add more stress. So I looked at her and I saw like she had like a tear in her eye, and I was like, oh shit!
Your first failure as a father.
And I was about to rip this shit off, and I was about to turn into the brown Hulk, the khaki Hulk, and then she was like, let's just go. And so I was standing there, right by, they had the C-section. I'm sitting by her, and they were like, sir, can you sit down? And
so it was a planned C-section.
Yeah, it was planned. Mm-hmm. I was like. It was like, sir, can you sit? I said, I'm gonna need a minute. And I let them know, like, yo, don't ask me to do nothing. And they were like, okay, like they straight up heard what I was saying, And so they gave me like 2 minutes. Like they straight up was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, I'm good. And we sat down, and it was great. It was beautiful. They pulled them out, and then they were like,
who was the first to come out?
Ava, my baby girl. And then Royce came out, and they were like, sir, do you want to come like take pictures? Don't look over there, because like she's cut open. And I was like, yeah, no doubt. Of course, I looked over and I was like, yo, like her whole insides were out on the side of the table. And I was like, I want to take a picture.
I've seen videos of the C-section.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
I was a C-section.
Word?
Yeah. I had the umbilical cord around my neck.
Oh, so that was unplanned.
It was unplanned
because of that?
Yeah. So because what it was is that my mom got pregnant. My mom and pops was in Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
So they met out there. They're both from New York, but they met out there.
Yeah.
So she got pregnant out there, but she had my big sister in Puerto Rico in the 70s and was like, nah, I'm not having another kid out here because, of course, in Puerto Rico, super underfunded. The hospitals don't have the supplies they need, all that kind of stuff. And so she came to New York City when she was like 6 months pregnant, like right before the last trimester. So they didn't have much prenatal care before they had me. So I don't know, at the time, I don't know what kind of scans or whatever they were getting. But luckily, I was born in Mount Sinai Hospital up in East Harlem. Oh, yeah. Not too far away from where we're at right now. Word. It was a pretty good hospital. I think it was a black doctor too that delivered me. So that's what's dope, up. Yeah. Back in the early 80s.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm sure there wasn't that many black doctors delivering babies.
Back then. What is that? Obstetrician? Am I bugging?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a nurse named Falker.
Pediatrician.
So the babies came out.
They came out. It was ill, man. I'm gonna confess. This is my confession. I guess we're doing this like, we're keeping it real. That first night, they were with us the whole time. I mean, I got on that like Lion King, Super Gorilla. Like, I didn't want them to take the kids anywhere. And they were like, nah, we got to go weigh them. And I was like, no, do it here. And they was like, nah, we got to take them. So, that was the only time they were out of my sight was when they took them out real quick. But the night when the first night, they were crying and all that. And, she was trying to breastfeed and all that. We didn't know that, the milk takes a little while to come in. So that first night
they were going drips and drabs.
Yeah, they were going ham that first night. So,
but they don't need that much though.
Yeah, well, they wasn't getting any. Yeah. So,
knowing your kids, they was like ready.
Yo, I woke up because they were screaming and I didn't know what to do. You know, brand new, right? 2 at once. I woke.
No one can give you a book on that.
No, I woke my wife up though, like, you know, C-section.
Recovering,
and I'm like, hey yo, they need you.
I don't care what you gotta do.
Yo, I gave her both them kids. You're not supposed to hold nothing after you have that C-section.
She just had major surgery.
She just had me, and I put both kids on her.
Another
and I
dad
go try to lay down. Yo,
you try to lay down in the bed?
Dog, I was not awake. I was like, you know, in that, I was still in my REM hysteria. State. I was like, why? But then
the zombie
she was
state
like,
that we call it.
Like, well, your baby. And I was like, oh, like I woke up and I realized, oh no, what am I doing? Like, I took them and but like till this day we talk about that. Like, I can't believe that you like trying to give me these 2 babies, 8-pound monsters.
Oh, they came out 8 pounds?
They both came out like they were big, healthy kids. So yeah, that was like, man, that was the first of a few mistakes I made. So but
the first of a few mistakes.
I'm talking about all in their whole 5.5 years so far. I made a handful of mistakes like that.
So all right, so if you got to give advice to a dad who's gonna be there, well, first of all, what should the dad be doing at those prenatal visits?
Yeah,
because sometimes because I was the same, I went to every prenatal visit, I was there, but sometimes I don't know if culturally the doctors are not used to fathers being there or what it is. They kind of treat you like you're secondary. Right. They don't speak to you. Or in my instance, they wouldn't look at me. I would ask questions, they would address my wife, which is whatever. But at the same time, I was like, damn, that they don't want me to be engaged.
Right.
So did you have some experience? What advice would you give to pops to be?
Honestly, I feel like just be present and support your, baby moms as much as you can. Whatever they need, you try to provide. My wife is something from somewhere, I don't know, I guess, to be able to put up with me, you got to be from a different place. She didn't have the wild cravings. She didn't have any kind of like hormonal anything, right? One time she like cried over something I thought was crazy. I don't even remember what it was. She just started crying. I'm like, what's wrong?
During pregnancy.
During pregnancy, so like, but I was totally not understanding about it. I have something with crying. When people start crying, I just get like, why are you crying? Like, stop. Even to my kids, that's probably the second thing where I messed up, when they used to start crying when they were babies. I'm like, hey, yo, what are you doing? But anyway, I just like be present and try to be like, thoughtful and like understanding, because from what I saw and like, since learning more about what the female body goes through during pregnancy, like, yo, that's nothing that's easy. So, discomfort is just like the beginning of it. And, they're going through a whole bunch of stuff that we wouldn't really understand because we can't go through it. So, just be a little more tolerant, a little more understanding if your lady is the type that might have some sort of like swings or whatever, in terms of mood, and also just be ready to do whatever she needs, make her comfortable and
right. They're doing the bulk of the work, and you're the partner supporting that. Trying not to raise their anxiety levels and all that kind of stuff. It sounds like Mel got some special training at Area 52 on how to deal with Yetis. And
yo, she went to 52 and then we live in 32. So I don't know. We got to do all kinds of crazy math to arrive at the origin. But well, there was one moment where this was crystallized, where the doctor was like saying, so we're past the vanishing twin point. And I'm like, what? Like she looks at the doctor like, oh my God, like, why'd you even bring that up?
One of the prenatal dreams?
Yo, yeah, the vanish. So there's like if you're having twins, they one could just disappear and then be reabsorbed by the body. So they call that the vanishing twin. Yeah, she's like, and I'm over here like, what is that? Like, what do you? And she's like, yeah, that's just a very low likelihood or whatever. So I didn't even bother telling you, because I know you would probably have me laying down on the bed for like, the whole time. So, things like that, where like she's just trying to protect, me from unnecessary things that would probably make me be more anxious. It's like, yeah, okay. we got to do that too for her, you know? So
those prenatal visits, every single visit, I was just like super nervous. Like, well, for me and Jenny had some history before Kai was born.
Yeah.
So we already had a lot of anxiety and stress. And sometimes the doctors, they can be very cold, you know,
very like statistical.
Exactly.
And like, you know, they lose a little bit of that human.
Exactly. Not all of them for sure, but I think working in that environment and dealing with so many patients and, you know, it just kind of fosters that. And so yeah, every time we went in there, it was super nerve wracking. But then eventually around midway, we actually changed prenatal care. We were doing prenatal care at a public hospital down in Lower Manhattan. And then we switched over to a midwife, a medical midwife. We ended up doing a home birth, which we could talk about for sure. But yeah, so when we made that change from the hospital prenatal care to the midwife care, it was like a world of difference. Like she sat us down in like what was like a living room setting, having conversations with both of us, asking us about our feelings, you know, stresses, blah, 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 trying to, you know, dispel any kind of stress we might have, tell us the real deal, all that kind of stuff. So it was a world of difference. So, you know, for those who have access to a midwife or doulas, you know, sometimes it's hard to find affordable ones. You know, luckily we had some good sliding scale folks here in New York City that we worked with, some friends of RevFit who were doulas. Jenny actually ended up getting certified as a doula as well. And then we have, you know, and there's a really dope midwife, Mamanye is her name, in Brooklyn. She's in, I forget what neighborhood, but she accepted Medicaid. Oh wow, which was really dope. So we had a very small copay for the birth, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool. But I agree, like being present, you know, putting your ego at check a little bit. You know, sometimes when they wouldn't look at me or talk to me, I'd be like tight, like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with these doctors? But I'm funny. Like, let me not get into any conflicts, stress anything out.
I'm the exact opposite. Like, I don't want to be looked at. I don't want to be spoken to. I just want to be present. And like, you know, I have a hard time with like long-term, you know, thinking and progress. I can't troubleshoot. Like I got to do it and experience it. And then, you know, if there are challenges or problems, I could probably solve them in the moment. But like, you know, I can't sit there and, you know, when I'm in certain meetings and stuff, people be like, oh, this and that. And I'm like, yo, how does your brain even think about the challenges? So like, I'm sitting there listening, but I'm more looking at my wife like, yo, are you good? Like, are you comfortable? And like, yo, she's a rider. So like, she's talking to the doctor and using all the terms. And I'm like, I get the terms and all that, but I'm just like, yo, this is intense. Like, you know, so I realized that in this process as becoming a father from like pregnancy, through now, I realized how much of an emotional being I am, and I have certainly been confronted by my own toxic masculinity and all that stuff, just because of my reactions to things, how overprotective I am of my children and my wife, and you know, it's just like, damn, like I'm trying to like break away from that stuff, you know. And even now, like my son just started playing lacrosse, bro. Like, what is lacrosse? I mean, I know of it, but it's not something I ever imagined ever interfacing with that closely. And it's just we got an email and it's like, yo, do you want to play? And my wife asked him, he was like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. You know, what do you even know how to play? Do you even know what that looks like? You have to wear pads. Like this kid doesn't want to wear anything when he's going out to play. I have to convince him to wear a helmet when he's riding his scooter. He's like, nah. He's like, no, I'll go. We went and I'm listening to the other fathers talk to their 5 and 6 year old kids. Oh, owned him. Yeah, you owned it. And I'm like, yo, no, like I wanted to leave. I wanted to grab my son. Like, nah, we are not doing this.
Yeah.
But it, you know, it got better, and he loves to run, to hit people, and to yell. So like there was a lot of that going on. But I'm hoping that he doesn't absorb that aspect of sport culture and like masculine, you know, culture in that way. So it's never ending, yo. It's like whenever you get it down, shit changes. They grow, they do something different. So like if you're not a reflective person, it's difficult to be a good parent. You know what I'm saying? You constantly got to be thinking about, okay, that went well. Well, let me think about what didn't go well. How can I change that? And even when you do all that, some other thing can be going on.
And then factors outside of your control.
Yeah, there's so many variables. I mean, that they just started kindergarten. They're coming home. They're not saying nothing about what happened. They're talking about playing, and I'm like, yeah, but what about your teacher? Like, I'm so consumed with, you know, like the man and the system trying to like, you know, brainwash them to be these like obedient little cogs in the system. That I'm like on some, we got to de-school, we got to unschool right now. What did you learn today? What did they tell you? The Pledge of Allegiance, like, yo, that happened, right? And I'm looking at my wife while he's telling the Pledge of Allegiance, we got to send an email. Ain't nobody, you know, and she's like,
postcard or Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, you know, oh man, yo, we, you know, I live up in the mountains, y'all, and you know, we did the Little League thing, and yo, they made us like, they asked people to take off your hat and face the flag. At the beginning of the text flew right in.
Did you kneel?
Not only was I an assistant coach, because my son probably wouldn't have done it without me doing that. My wife texted me when they did that. I was at the shortstop space, so everybody was out there. All the assistant coaches, mad kids and parents lined up, but the parents were standing behind. So imagine the kids sitting down, the parents standing right behind them. I'm where the shortstop is. The flag was in center field, so if you know, everyone would turn and basically be looking at me at the flag, right?
They just see you.
Yo, when they said turn, take your hats off, face the flag. Yo, the text message came right in. The text message, she was like, "Please don't tell me you're kneeling." And I was so conflicted, right? Because I was gonna drop down.
It was a moment.
If it was just me, no question.
Yeah,
I would have done it. I would have done it in a second. But then I'm looking at my son. Like, yo, I don't want this kid to be picked on or targeted because of anything that I do.
That's real.
Like that at that age. I want to wait till he's capable of understanding. So I just stood like this.
It's stoic.
And
everyone facing you, you facing away from the flag.
Yeah, so they saw it, but like. They didn't. I wasn't kneeling, right? So you know, but so that was the.
And you probably already stand out. You probably
come on, man. Like this is what I look like on a regular basis. Like if I'm not wearing a crazy tie-dye shirt, I'm wearing like a black tee with something written on it, and no one else is really doing.
You just need to go to every single game now with a Colin Kaepernick shirt. That's what you just gotta do.
I got Colin Kaepernick shirts. I got I'm wearing things. I got pendants. You know, I'm always rocking stuff. I was wearing the African pendant in one of the games, so like they know. Yeah. And I think that some parents were definitely looking at me funny the next few games, and eventually they realized like I'm all about love and the people, and they wasn't trying to really do nothing crazy. Yeah. But like that was a moment where I was like, damn, I got a responsibility to this young person that it's not about you anymore. Yeah. So that was a conflict, man. So
for sure, it's one of those things. Yeah. So on our end, and speaking of which, the baby's sleeping in the back, so she might be up in a little bit and join us for the second half of this. But yeah. So we switched over. We got the midwife. We had a doula, a friend of ours, a close friend of ours, who was a doula. And for those who don't know, you have your midwife, who's the primary deliverer of the child. So they're the one that is medically trained. Typically, the doula can also be medically trained, but midwife definitely for sure. And our midwife actually she was a midwife in the hospital setting for 10 or 15 years prior to creating her own home birthing practice. We actually initially wanted to get into one of those birthing centers. Yeah. But those joints are on the decline in terms of getting support financially. And so there's not that many of them, and there's very few spots to get into them.
They train you how to do that stuff at home, basically?
Well, no. So the birthing centers, they're like a hospital that is set up like a living space. Oh, I got you. Yeah. So it's like they have all the medical gear and doctors and everything on hand, but it's way more relaxed, and it's almost like giving birth in your house. Oh, that's dope. So that's like the middle pack. That's where we wanted to be initially. We were like, oh yeah, that's what we'd be into. And we couldn't find any spots. It was all booked up, and she was already like 5 months in. And we were like, damn, we don't have time to think about this. So we're just going to have to go back to the hospital, even though we didn't want to do that in our particular plan. Again, that's not a critique of hospital births. That's just what we wanted personally. Wow. And so we were like, all right, we're going to have to go back to the hospital. But then our doula started saying, hey, but you could do a home birth. And we were like, nah, like home birth, like that's a little too radical. No. That's too crazy. And we were like that up until the final hour, honestly, you know, kind of second guessing ourselves, but reassured that if anything needed to happen in terms of getting to a hospital, we could easily, you know, we had a plan of attack on to get from the house to the hospital. Because the reality is, it's not like the movies. It's not like you driving in a cab going into labor. That's not like labor is
really long.
Yeah, it's a long time. Even the fastest labors are a few hours. So we decided to do it in the crib, but also in the back of our mind saying, okay, but if we need to go to this hospital, we know how to get there, kind of thing. And so the way it went down, the day that, so we had our due date, and you know that your due date is set, but then 2 or 3 weeks prior or 2 or 3 weeks after, the baby can come out. You know, if you have a planned C-section, or you have induced labor, that's different. That's a little bit more scheduled. But with a natural birth, it's like it can happen like within this range of 4 to 6 weeks. So it was like 2 weeks before the due date, and she started getting, you know, some serious pain, and, you know, concluding that it was some contractions. And we were in the crib, and we were like, and mind you, we had just had the baby shower like a couple of days prior, and we are busy people. Even, you know, into that last couple of weeks, Jenny was still working full time. You know, we do a lot of things. So our house was in shambles. We had all the gifts from the baby shower. Like, we had this whole plan of like getting like renting one of the tubs to do a home, you know, a bath and all, you know, birth and all this kind of thing. We got all these kits that we were supposed to set up and clear out areas and make like, you know, like a little shrine, feng shui kind of area in the crib. None of that was there. The house was like its usual wreck, which is kind of like how it should have been, honestly. Now I think about it, you know, not staging anything, but just like things happen naturally. And if you know Kaya moves at her own speed. So she was like, I'm ready to come out, Mom. So in any case, so she was having these contractions, and we thought they were the Braxton Hicks joints. You know, those are for those who don't know, it's like the practice contractions. Those are the ones that you get that, you know, this is like getting your body prepped, but they're more spaced apart, or that kind of thing. It's like a testing, you know, like a test launch. But so we thought it was that, because she hadn't really gotten that yet. So we're like, all right, whatever. So we were on the phone back and forth with the doula, kind of just checking in. And then at some point, the doula was like, look, this is sounding like it's been going on for a few hours. I think you might be in labor. And so I told Jenny, and Jenny started, you know, panicking, like, oh no, like we're not ready. It's too early, blah, blah, blah. And so I was just trying to calm her down. And then, you know, she was going through a lot of pain, and we were basically in labor, just me and her in the crib for like 6 hours. And then it got to a point where, because, you know, you got to watch how far the contractions are from each other. And so our midwife had told us, you know, if you're ever within 10 minutes of contractions, call me, because I'll come, even if it's Braxton Hicks, you know. But us being us, you know, we were like, oh, that was 8 minutes, but the next one was 15 minutes, and then it was like 2 minutes. We were like, nah, we good. And I was like, let's just wait till it gets a little bit more regular or whatever before we call her. So our doula was like, all right, I'm gonna come. And she was coming from, so we're in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. She was coming from all the way in Washington Heights, near Inwood almost, like Fort Washington area. So that's a little bit of a trek if you don't near New York City. So she was en route. And as she was en route, we're in the bathroom, and Jenny had just been emptying out, because, you know, when they're about to give birth, they start emptying out. So she's emptying out, and then all of a sudden it was like a big flush of liquid. But she was over the toilet, and we were like trying to figure it out. And we figured out, yo, we think your water just broke. And so she went to wipe, and there was a little bit of blood, not even that much, a little bit of blood on the tissue. And we're like, oh shit, I think that was, you know, your water broke. So she was like, you know, Jenny, she's an athlete. So she was like, all right, I'm just going to squat it out, you know, like, so she's like in the bathroom, squatting it out. So she's like squatting, and then I look under, she's like, peek underneath the hood, you know, like see what's going on. So I look under, and definitely I saw Kaya's head pressing up against what's that area? She was crowning? Not crowning, the area. Cervix. Yeah, somewhere over there, that anatomy. Upper. I don't know. It was something pushing. Lower belly area? Something. No. Even lower than that. Ooh, what's the area between the private and the bone? You're talking about the taint. Yeah, the taint. What's the technical word for that? Taintus. All right, whatever. That area, I saw some pressing. I was like, I told her. And then so I called the doula back, and the doula was like, call the midwife and get Jenny on the bed, close her legs.
Oh, snap.
She has to wait for us.
Yeah.
So Jenny was about to just give birth.
Damn.
Like, just thug it out and just pop it out.
No doubt.
And so I was like, Jenny, we got to get in the bed. So I got her in the bed. We got her legs closed, waiting it out. The doula came. Me and the doula were coaching her to wait. Yeah. So that the midwife could get there, because the midwife comes before her medical gear and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
So the midwife comes. And there's another thing about the doula, you're the primary partner to your the partner that's giving birth, but then the doula is like the secondary, they're the backup. So like when the midwife came, she had to carry up a bunch of stuff up 6 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
So the doula, she went down and she helped her.
Yeah.
And I stood with Jenny, and it was really dope to have that support. So finally, when the midwife came up, she looked over Jenny, she inspected. She was like, yo, go grab the olive oil. We're ready to go.
Olive oil.
Olive oil. And like 2 or 3 pushes, and the baby was out.
Wow.
Right on our bed. The same bed that, things went down. The way where everything was conceived.
Full circle.
Full circle, bro. And so she came out and super duper healthy, went straight to the breast. Jenny was like, superhero status. Yeah. Kind of just thugged it out. And then really cool, the midwife just helped out, stood for a few hours, informed us what we needed to do. You need to still go to the hospital, like within that week to get, checked up on the baby and all that good stuff. And then the doula, she also did postnatal. So she stood with us for a week, basically like living in the house and just helping us out whenever we needed. So it was pretty crazy, bro. It was dope.
That's crazy, man. That's intense. You're a beast.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They're probably better. It's better that I didn't see nothing too crazy, because I've been like, hey, yo, what are y'all doing? I just be overreacting.
But the thing about the home birth too is like when you think about it, it sounds crazy, but then when it happens, it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This is how they've been doing it for thousands of years.
All the machines and all that stuff. It's like, I don't know. They just trying to. I don't know. Honestly, I just feel like they're just trying to get all this money, and they don't need all that stuff really.
Right.
But I don't know.
There's like a study that shows like for gloves in the hospitals, they're like $12 each glove.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the medical industry inflates the pricing on
like
that stuff.
That dude Shkreli that was charging $40 billion for a pill. I do remember all my peoples coming and visiting at the crib when the babies came home, and it being so surreal, because 2 kids. No, we were trying to feed them at the same time, but like, so when one would get up, we would get the other one up to feed them.
So y'all was doing the bottle.
Well, we had, Melissa was pumping and all that, but I mean, we had trouble at the beginning.
She wasn't,
She was doing that.
Oh man, what's that term? Damn, we like ignorant dads right now. When you hold both of the babies.
If you give me a second, I'll dig into my brain for a minute. It's something with a B, man. It's called something. Yeah. But
keep talking. I'm gonna grab that.
I am going to. They was all like stunned, because they weren't really. They were still hungry, because like we said, the milk wasn't really dropping in like that, and we had no idea. So they never really saw Melissa looking so distraught. Like she keeps it together, and my daughter was screaming and going ham, and we didn't know what was going on like all day, and it just sounded like some kind of wild zoo, which is usually how things sound when my people
in your
together.
House.
Yeah. But like this was different. It was like it felt like people were coming in the morning. They were like mourning the loss of our childless existence. And it was just
morbid.
Yeah, I mean that's what it felt like, because everybody was just kind of like quiet, standing there like, damn, what can we do? Can we help? What is there anything we can do? And I was just there like half asleep, like I don't know. Let's just see what's good. And
that zombie state that lasted us for like 2 weeks.
It was crazy. I feel like I'm still half in the zombie state, to be honest with you. They still get up in the middle of the night trying to come into the bed. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget. Shout out to Francine, my wife and our very good friend. She came through. She had 2 kids. She was like the first one in like our crew of friends to have kids. And I was mad ignorant when she had the kids. Official doing it as an adult, when you're trying to make the plan and you got your job and you're like, okay, let's have kids. I was just like, damn, that's it. That's how I felt. I was like, yo, that's it. Like, there's no more hanging out with them, you know, like, so I think she kind of knew because she had that experience. She came through Doula and was like, yo, I'm gonna help y'all. And I just fell out.
She did doula tasks.
Yo, deadass. She came through. She just like let us chill. Her and Melissa were kicking in, but like she was doing shit that I don't even know because I fell asleep. Like
Cleaning,
that's how, like straightening things up. I don't even like it.
Like,
damn, like the type of stuff I'd be like, you don't gotta do that.
Exactly.
But like I just fell out, yo. My body just gave in. It was like, and I was sleeping for like an hour, and I woke up feeling mad refreshed. And that was the kind of thing we needed, yo. It was like just people came through, and eventually, like my moms, my mother-in-law, they would just come through. They would just be with the kids, feeding. Let us not have to feed them because that shit was killing me. Yeah, like feeding them, holding the bottle. I remember being like, "Oh my god." Like this is the worst shit ever. Like they're too little, they can't do nothing. I'm just like sitting in a weird position holding. So you know, and she's like, "Are you saying that you hate feeding your children?" And I'm like, nah. Yeah, I'm like, I love feeding them, but I hate holding this fucking bottle, you know? So I would be trying to hold it with my chin and doing all kinds of ridiculous stuff. Shit. I realized that I'm not sounding like a really good father in these stories, but you know,
well, you know, the thing is because we are, like you said, we're engaged, even though we're making mistakes. Because a lot of dudes out there are not even there during any of this, not the prenatal, barely there during the birth, definitely not there, you know, after the fact, supporting in the household.
No doubt.
You know, so maybe we could talk a little bit about that. You know, what do you think? How does that manifest? How can anyone? It doesn't manifest from ill will. I don't think. Right? There's no one out there who's like evil and just like
Yeah, you know, I
it's
don't know,
a cultural
man.
thing, right?
You know, I don't know. This is one of those things I was trying to understand. I was actually chilling with some peoples, and one of them is my man, and it was some of his boys.
Keep talking.
And they made a joke about how this dude got rid of one of his kids, and I was like, yo, how did you do that? You know, because I was just like, what are they talking about? And he was like, I sent him back. You know, I think it was like a stepkid or something like that. And I was like, you know, whatever. And it's just one of those things, man. I don't know. My kids are so critical and crucial to my existence that I couldn't imagine not being present for everything that they go through, you know? And so I can't put myself in a position where they're not with me and I'm not with them, you know, as you bring Kaya,
special appearance. She just woke up from a nap. She just came out of school from today.
Yeah.
So Kaya, you want to say hi? No, you still sleepy? So Kaya just started 3K. So that whole deconditioning thing that you were talking about earlier. Man. So the thing is, so there's a couple things that we've decided as parents that necessarily the school system doesn't agree with. And so we've already ran into those things like from jump. You know, especially, you know, we wanted to get her into public school. Yeah. That was conscious because we came out through public school. You know, we support public school. We support, you know, the teachers union. We want to make sure that that's not being broken up. We support, you know, like there shouldn't be a continued development of charter schools. There should be more funding and support for the public schools, you know. If they're broken, like, let's fix them. Let's not abandon them and create private enterprise. Yeah. It's more complex than that for sure. But
no, you're right, though. It's like, you know, why are you trying to take money away and open up private things? Yes. You know, like
private things ran like a business, you know?
Yeah, it's not.
We definitely should have an episode about the charter school phenomenon. Get some guests on here around that.
Word.
So in any case, but we want to get her in public school. We were lucky enough that they launched the 3K program, which is kind of like the new Head Start, I guess, in New York City. And they launched it in East Harlem, where I have residence at. Not my main residence, but is one of my residents, where I grew up at. And so we were able to get her into that district. So it's really cool. She's going to the same school that my sister went to back in the 70s.
That's dope.
But my sister's like, I know you're not putting it in that school. I'm like, no, it's like 40 years later. It's a different school.
It's different now. They do things differently.
Now, because what happened with my sister is when she came from Puerto Rico, she went in there and they didn't have any bilingual dual language program. Which is crazy because it's in the middle of East Harlem. Right. Where like everyone was Puerto Rican. That goes to
show you.
So there was no dual language program, so they left her back in the first grade because of the language barrier. which was crazy, and that disrupted her for a long time.
Yeah.
But in any case, so she got into the 3K program. So one of the there's multiple things that we've had little conflicts over. I mean, first of all the kids are Black and Latino. There's like one Ukrainian or Russian girl, I'm not sure. She's somewhere from around that region of the world. And then I think like one there's two like African immigrant kids.
Okay.
So their parents are from Africa. But everyone else is like, African American or Puerto Rican, Mexican. And then of course the primary teacher for the 3K is a young white woman that's, not from the neighborhood. And, I understand like what's going on there, but there's already some dynamics at play that I'm a little frustrated with, So like,
not from there, but probably lives there.
Yeah. Oh no, that's for sure. You know how the neighborhoods are changing.
They're going to have an organic pickle shop soon.
Yes.
Because of that.
So she's there teaching these young kids, and she looks like she's trying her best for sure.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Kaya's teacher. But there's some cultural things that are different there. There's some, especially at that young, very early stage, when you're going from like a 3-year-old to a 6-year-old, there's so many cultural habits that are strong in the child because they're around their parents so much that it becomes very conflicting very early on, and the kids can get a little confused. You ran into any of that kind of stuff?
No doubt. Right off the bat, first letter home, I would have put money on it being my son, but it was my daughter. The teacher was like, please let Ava know that she has to keep her sneakers on in school, and I was like, oh man, here we go. And so now, we had to have a conversation with the school social worker and the guidance team or whatever to let them know, like, yo, she's anti-clothing. And we're like, it's something that we are struggling with. And, maybe she has some sensory issues. Like, when she puts clothes on, it's like, yo, this is too tight. I mean, she's been saying too tight, like with passion and vigor since, like with seatbelts, like since she could speak.
She don't want
to be restricted at all. So, I was curious. It was a curious way that it was written to me. The note was like, please reinforce this at home. And I'm like, damn, we reinforce, we enforce, we initiate all kinds of things. But like, I don't like the way the note was written. It was just like, I don't know. But I know I'm hardcore when it comes to being a rebel and all that stuff. So I don't know. I was ready to.
So you don't know if it was you interpreting.
I know it was me interpreting a certain way, and
But it's real. But at the same time, some, especially, I mean, they speak to parents of color in a certain way for sure in certain settings.
Yeah. So we
like they feel like they're raising you as well.
Yeah, I don't think that was at play here, because I don't know if they even know. Well, I guess when they look at my daughter, they probably know. But whenever they look at my name, they probably are confused about what's happening. But we had to let them know. My wife wrote a very beautiful letter back saying, listen, these are things we're concerned about. So we wanted to hit the school numerous times with like, y'all need to check this out if you want, like. And so that was just something that was immediately apparent to me. And then there was something else. I emailed my son's teacher because they're in different classes. And I was like, yo, how's he doing? And I said, yo, I was like, hey, yo, how's he doing? Yo. And she said, well, he's got some great friendships. I was wondering if you'd be able to reinforce that he needs to raise his hand before he speaks. Like all this, like, classroom management stuff. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, what do you want me to tell him he has to raise his hand at home? Yeah, kindergarten. So I'm like, okay, I can see what's happening here, right? They're trying to get him in line for middle management. We ain't doing that, So I was like, so it was a parent night the other night. It was cool. Got to see what's going on. I mean, no matter where you go, you're going to have these things where if you're trying to do something different, that's the, sort of like countercultural, you're going to run into these obstacles and these like challenges. But I guess it's good to get it out the way early so that you can sort of give them these tools at a young age, as opposed to having them, realize on their own, like this is messed up, kind of like I did, as a high school and college student, because that set me back some time. I was kind of like, I don't want to be a part of this system anymore. And I lacked the ability to sort of like do that in a thoughtful way. I want them to be a hip to the game at a young age and sort of develop the skills and tools to sort of like challenge things now,
Yeah, and they got to do their own self-navigation because if they see, your attempts to deprogram as a way of controlling their experience, they're gonna reject that, and they're gonna, they're gonna go another direction. You don't want that either.
My son was making jokes. This was his line of jokes. When we first started doing the baseball thing, and of course, I'm the only long-haired, long-bearded, tattooed savage out there, right? Yeah. And so he made a joke like, "Dad, you should cut your hair. Your hair is not cool." I was like, "What's up? You really?" He's like, "Yeah, short hair is cooler."
Damn. Did it hurt your feelings?
Nah, it didn't hurt my feelings because I know he's like a trickster, but also he's sensitive. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out if he was serious or if he was messing with me, right? Yeah. And if he was serious, I wanted to approach it differently than if he was joking, because he also had long hair. We didn't cut his hair for 4.5 years. Yeah. And then he was like, "Oh, I want to cut my hair because of a costume." Like he went off because his hair didn't fit in this costume.
What costume was it?
It was not Paw Patrol, Catboy. What are those people?
Oh, it's Owl Boy.
Owlette, Catboy, and Lizard Face or whatever.
The lizard one.
So the hood thing didn't go up right. Yeah. So he was like, and we've been asking him, "You want to cut your hair?" I want to go get my hair cut. So we went right then in that moment. Let's go then. So that had been an issue up to that point, like hair, like the hair. So then I was like, "For real? You really want me to cut my hair? Are you sure?" And he was like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, you got it. And you should shave too." And I was like, "Really?" And then like 10 minutes of me trying to go back and forth thoughtfully, he was like, "I'm just playing with you." And I was like, "Damn, now I gotta like recalibrate myself," because then I was like, I was going towards getting hurt feelings, right? I was like, "Hey, yo," because I'm the illest, coolest, Then I was like, let them know, don't be joking like that no more. So
Yeah, man. Nah. The one thing we ran into, and we'll kind of end soon because we're running up on the hour here. We could go forever on this topic, but the one thing we ran into was her diet. You know what I mean? Because she's plant-based. Yeah. We've raised her plant-based. She hasn't consumed meat. And at one end, we want to ensure that she's still staying plant-based within our control, but at the other end, we don't want to, again, limit her experience.
Right.
And also make her feel strange or odd or anything like that. Make her a pariah because of our beliefs, none of that kind of stuff. So like, for instance, like one thing was like the milk. So they wanted to give her cow's milk, and we were like, nah, she doesn't drink cow's milk. And they were like, oh, okay. And then we were like, yeah, we'll just pack, like some almond milk or whatever. And then like in passing, Jenny was like, I'll pack some chocolate almond milk or whatever. And they were like, oh, no, you can't put chocolate milk.
Because of the nuts?
They were saying chocolate milk because of the sugar or whatever. Oh. But mind you, their first day of school, the breakfast was French toast and maple syrup. Yeah. For breakfast, like on jump. And they're over here critiquing us for some chocolate almond milk. Yeah. So there was stuff like that. And they also, I think because we haven't framed it as for religious or spiritual reasons, the dietary choices, they kind of see it as subject to interpretation sometimes a little bit more than I would like. Yeah. So they're kind of like, oh, yeah, like she wanted to eat this kind of thing. They haven't said that she's consumed anything, and I'm not sure if she has. But it's definitely something that's in the back of our heads. And we're just like, oh, man, like we're going to have to deal with this. And, people are just though conditioned for sure. So we're not like feeling personal about it, but it's definitely a struggle.
I'm not really big about the nuts in my kids' school. Like they have a nut-free. You can't have any nuts in anything. I don't think. Oh no, actually, they have a nut-free table. So like if you have an allergy, you sit there and then you can sign. I know it's kind of crazy, right? but what they do to counteract that is friends can sign like contracts about like, on this day, they can come in with a nut-free lunch so they can sit with their friends at the lunch table. And they do a whole. I mean, they're pretty responsive in terms of like the SEL stuff, social emotional learning and all that. So they are trying to be like holistic and trying to teach. It's not all about academics, and it's a lot.
Is it public school?
It is a public school. Yeah.
Oh wow.
But the allergies is no joke. Yeah. They you can't even write peanut. Yeah. They skip the letter P in the alphabet. Yeah. So and N.
Oh, word?
Nah.
Oh, I was like, what?
No. But like, it's hardcore. Like, nut-free table and all that other stuff.
So what would you say to dads out there, expecting dads, new dads, experienced dads? what do you think is vital for us to understand in this next stage of evolution of fatherhood?
Well, your child's gonna come as they are. You can't force them to do anything. You really can't. You can't force them to be a certain way. They really arrive as a whole being, and you gotta love and nurture that, young person. So I feel like that's the best unsolicited advice that I got was one of my homies was like, yo, man, they come as a whole person. You just have to make sure you don't mess it up. And that's really true, man. As my son is basically my clone. He's exactly like me, right? My daughter is a pretty nice hybrid of my wife and I. But no matter what we try to do, they have their own personality, and you can see their elements of like our nurturing in there. But their personalities have been very similar to what it was in the womb. When we had these scans, my daughter was like basically yeah, I know that they didn't know they were getting scanned. Yeah, in the belly. Right. My son was always like this, like, nah, I ain't showing you nothing. Like that. His first picture was like stone faced, and my daughter was like this in their first picture. Yeah. So it's amazing. Yeah, their personalities are developed, and you just got to support that and love them. Love. You can be a disciplinarian, but you got to love, man, because they need that. This world tries to make us, divided, and you could get frustrated. It's so easy to get frustrated when you want to do something, when you got work and you're stressed and all that, and your child is like, play with me, look at me, take that minute. And I read or heard somewhere that you only have 15 or 18 summers or something like that till they're like no longer babies and no longer really interested.
When you put that number like that, it feels,
and you can think about it like, damn, that's true. Yeah. So it's like the time moves so fast. Sometimes I forget how they were when they were smaller. I was just caught up in doing for them and not really trying. I mean, I would take moments to enjoy it, but when I look at them now, they're huge and they're independent. And I look back at pictures, I'm like, damn, I remember that. And it feels like such a long time ago. Yeah. And they're only 5.5. So
yeah, definitely. I would say my one piece of advice, I definitely agree with what you're saying. But my one piece of advice is to be, obviously be present. Maybe not obviously, but definitely be present. And by present, that not only being there, but like, being there as best you can be. It's stressful. So sometimes you need your own moment, your own space. Yeah. Definitely do that for sure. But know when you're kind of trying to escape responsibility or escape, the stresses of parenthood and put that burden solely on your partner or on other people. Take note of that kind of stuff and know that if you are being present and you're doing the best that you can do based off of like your understanding, your continued growth in your understanding and all that kind of stuff, that, don't feel bad about your shortcomings, the little conflicts that you're dealing with, the things that that you can get better at, raising your voice too much, right? Saying machismo kind of thing, reinforcing bad ideas that are, should be abandoned. You're going through your own internal growth. And of course, you're going to make mistakes along the way. But if you're present, it's all good. Right. Because then you're being a father. Yeah. You got a pee-pee? All right. I think on that note.
There it is. On that note, but like you said, you got to work on yourself. You have to always grow and be the best you can be. And also seek help. You got people out there that are willing to help you. You can look for the people that you admire, that you think do a good job, and ask them for guidance, because it is hard. So word, man. We're gonna take a
great show.
A 1 week pee break.
We'll see y'all next week. Next Thursday. Remember, next Thursday every week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, we're gonna get this going. Hopefully, we can continue to just do it in person. There might be some times where fatherhood gets in the way, but we will try to get that broadcast out every week. BX. Definitely check out the website, revolutionaryfitness.org. Say bye-bye, Kaya. Say bye-bye. Oh, now you want to be quiet? Say bye-bye. She's just ice grilling y'all. Side eye if you're watching the live feed. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.